Hello there YouTube and welcome to a Who review. I am Davros and I am a Whovian, and today I review Doctor Who, The Two Doctors. So this is a three-part serial from 1985 where the second Doctor and Jamie decide to investigate this space station where they find these creatures called Anrogans, and then they also find that they're doing some dealings with the Sontarns, and of course the sixth Doctor and Perry decide to go and investigate this whole space station, and they come across Jamie, who tells the Doctor that the Doctor has been murdered, but hasn't, and is still alive, but he gets experimented on by one of the Anrogan scientists, and of course, the whole thing ends up in Spain, where, the Doctor and the Doctor have to come together to stop these Sontarns and Anrogans. This is the this is the final multi-Doctor story in the show's classic run, unless you count Dimensions in Time. But is that canon? Anyway, we had the 3 Doctors, the 5 Doctors, now we got the 2 Doctors, where the 6th Doctor and the 2nd Doctor meet and cross paths. And this one, it's actually a pure coincidence. The 6th Doctor did say that when you travel in time, you're bound to run into yourself at some point. And yeah, he does in this one. He meets himself, and like I say, this is caused by no paradox, no interferences or anything. It's simply, like I just said, a pure coincidence. So I like that, and I also love Patrick Troughton returning to play his Doctor one last time. I mean, it's a Colin Baker story, but it's just as much as a Patrick Troughton one as well as a Colin Baker one. And Patrick Troughton, it had been almost 20 years since he was the Doctor at that point, and he just still had it in him, I mean, he acted as if he popped off set for 2 seconds and then came back on, and it's as if he never left the role. I mean, there are a few differences. His hair's grey because he was like 65 at that point. And of course the 6th Doctor, not the 6th Doctor, the 2nd Doctor's era was black and white. So you never know. The 2nd Doctor could have gone grey in the end. I mean, it might have shown, I don't know. But the fact is, Patrick Troughton is just brilliant playing the Doctor, and, he doesn't disappoint for me. He does not disappoint at all. I also like that they got Fraser Hinez back as Jamie, because, it's just great to see Jamie. I mean, yeah, he had aged a bit too, but not too much. And of course, before that, the last we saw of him was a cameo in the 5 Doctors in An Illusion with Zoe. I also just love that we got the 60s colliding with the 80s Doctor Who. And I like the very first opening shot where we see the 2nd Doctor and Jamie, and it's black and white before fading into colour. I like that, how it was black and white, but then it just went into colour. I don't know, I just like that. I also liked Colin Baker as well. He was alright in this as the Doctor. He's not one of the best Doctors. Well, he is a good Doctor, but I just feel he didn't give it his all in this. I feel that Patrick Troughton was a bit of a show stealer in this. I also thought Nicola Bryant was okay in this, not too pathetic or dozy or anything, even though there is in that part 2 cliffhanger. I'm like, what was that about? They also had the Anrogans. They were a weird bunch. There was one Anrogan that was a cook and wanted to eat people. And, he has a bit of a brutal demise as well, because there's a scene in that where the Doctor sneaks up on him and, smothers him with this poison substance that kills him. And the Doctor, he just brushes it off and goes, "You're just desserts." I thought, yeah, that was a bit brutal. I mean, the 6th Doctor's era is known for pushing the boat out and being a little brutal, like in Attack of the Cybermen, when a guy got his hands crushed, you could see blood. In this, and then in the Vengeance on Varos, that was like a bit of a brutal, stuff in there too. And yeah, I mean, they did push the violence out just a tad. But the way the Sixth Doctor handled him was just like the way Bond would kill a villain when James Bond killed that guy in the bath and electrocuted him, going shocking. You know, just like that. I didn't get a pun on there. Oh, that was a bit of a dark moment there. I also like that they got the Sontarns back. I mean, we only had 2 Sontarns, and the 2 actors who played them, they must have been boiling in those suits, because they were. I think they actually went to Spain to film some of these scenes, because they do go to Spain in it. In fact, it's so warm that the Sixth Doctor takes off his iconic coat and wears a waistcoat because it's that warm. And yeah, it is warm in Spain, and yeah, Patrick Troughton, though, he kept his coat and everything on. I don't know how he wasn't boiling. But yeah, those actors really gave it their all. I mean, they were tough troopers to withstand all that heat. And it couldn't have been. I know it wasn't easy for them, because that's what Colin Baker said in the extras of the DVD. But the effects in this were very practical. There were some space effects, the visuals where it's like set in space, you can see the poorish effects, but it was the mid-80s, and they made what they had work. I mean, they had some goodish visuals in there, but a lot of the good visuals came from the practical stuff. The practical effects, they were good visuals, and you know, it had a good ending, you know, like where the Second Doctor bids his future self and Nicola, not Nicola Brides, Perry and Jamie also says goodbye as well. And I'm thinking, for the Second Doctor, that's all to come. That's all to happen again. And yeah, I thought this was a decent story. I mean, people have said it's a weak story, but in my personal opinion, I think it's an okay story, pretty decent, and I liked that Patrick Troughton came back for one last performance as the Doctor, because sadly 2 years later he passed away. But yes, the 2 Doctors, it's a decent story, and I recommend it. So my ratings, I'm going to give the performances, I'll give the performances a 10, because, you know, 2 Doctors, Patrick Troughton just sold it for me. So 10 for the performances. I'll give it a 7 for the visuals, a 9, no, hang on, an 8 for the writing, you know, because this was written by Robert Holmes, and towards the end Robert Holmes wasn't as good as he was, because, you know, he was starting to get ill around that time, but he did a good enough writing script for this. And my personal, I'll give it a 9 for the, you know, 2 Doctors. So there you go. That's my Who review on the 2 Doctors. Have you seen this one? Let me know down in the comments below if you have. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, share with your friends. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and to hit that notification bell. All of my social media links are linked down below in the description, so be sure to check all that out. I have been Davros the Whovian, and this has been a Who review, so until next time, and for your life.